My name is Dave Hedge. I am a technology architect and fellow at ExxonMobil. And today I'm going to share some of the journey that we've been on around OPA, how we're looking at it as we continue to progress forward. But more importantly, how does it resonate with people? Not necessarily the technologists sitting in the room or the managers, but people at the actual site. What's the feedback look like? How does it look to operate one of these systems? And we'll do something special here in a couple of minutes. But I think it's fair to say automation technologies are evolving. And when we look at this chart, this kind of gives a trend of where we've been and where we're headed. This is a very technology-centric chart. And this is kind of how we've gotten to the point where we're looking at open process automation and doing a lighthouse to explore things like containers, things like open systems, how we're changing, how we're supporting these systems, and ultimately the cognitive functions and the close to self-driving capabilities I think we all yearn for. The challenge with this, though, is technology continues to move faster and faster. And so how do you put a system in place or a platform, kind of like the idea of the building and like the roof and all that kind of stuff, but to put a platform into place where your answer is yes, and you stop saying no to when people want to try to do something. And enable your engineers to think creatively and innovatively to change how your process and how your manufacturing plant runs. For us, that was open process automation. This is an architecture that we actually deployed in our Baton Rouge plant. So it's a combination of both high-end compute and the advanced computing platform, as well as traditional I/O that's using pulling signaling off of the field, as well as local compute that gives us the capability and horsepower that we haven't had in the past. The cool thing about it, it's all software defined. So today's software can run on top of this, and that's what we're doing in the plant today. But tomorrow, when the new AI widget comes out, or the computer vision model that can tell if it's a cat or a dog, or whatever it is, this platform has the software and hardware capability to take that on for the next couple of years, and we can change the system as it sits in the facility today. Now, this is a completely different approach. And one of the top questions we get asked is, what does it feel like? How does it differ from what we're doing today? And that's been a really hard question to answer up until December of last year. And I think as David DeBari and Kelly pointed out yesterday and Whit this morning, this architecture is running in one of our facilities as the Lighthouse project in Baton Rouge. And today I have a very special guest with me, and that's Tito Jackson. He is the site engineer for the open process automation platform in Baton Rouge. He's got operational responsibilities to keep that platform running. And we're going to have a little Q&A here so you guys can learn kind of what it's like in a day. Tito.
So I'm Tito Jackson, no relations. Yes, I was named after Tito Jackson, so because I'm always say that.
So Tito, why don't you give him a quick introduction and how did you get involved in the whole OPA thing?
So in Baton Rouge, I support 3 DCSs. Same vendor, different technology, but still 3 DCS. I was asked if I wanted to be a part of this, and I was like, cool. New DCS, same thing, want to keep the plant running, so I decided to say yes, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, come on.
Unfortunately.
So when we first sat down, this was probably 2 or 3 years ago, and we introduced the concept. What was your gut reaction?
My gut reaction was, wow, something new. But then I started looking at the architect, and I was like, well, that's a lot to support. But then after I started understanding and learning more about it, because in my world, I didn't know anything about containers, right? So when, being introduced to it, I'm learning about containers, more IT products, and I'm OT. So it's
Nice.
like, why is he stepping into my area? I take pride in my unit. So, I'm like, why is he coming over here? Why? But after learning and as time go on, I said, well, okay, that It makes it pretty cool. So I started to enjoy it.
So the 3 years that we've worked together, we've gone through the test bed phase. You saw that early on. We did a bunch of training. We actually started building the system, and then we obviously went through FAT in the Yokogawa facility. What was the biggest surprise as you kind of saw this thing build up, and when you compared it to one of the traditional DCS systems you've been supporting, and now seeing this thing off and running as OPA software defined and about to enter your site?
2 words: it works. I was skeptical at first, just looking at everything and not knowing. I'm used to one thing. I spent 14 and a half years on 3 different DCSs. This is something brand new. I'm like, it ain't gonna work. And also, outside influence, it ain't gonna work. But after actually seeing it works, and it works good, that was my biggest surprise. That was my biggest shock.
Oh, absolutely.
Watching it work.
Yeah. So now we have this thing in Baton Rouge.
Mm-hmm.
It's been running since December, the full facility. What are you most excited about in the future? We've talked a lot about AI and some of the new feature sets. What excites you as a systems engineer supporting this platform for the future?
Endless possibilities.
Okay.
That was my excitement and thinking about it and looking at it and going forward, because in OT, I really don't deal with a whole lot of IT products. It's really straightforward. So this gave me another love and passion for IT again, because as Whit said this morning, he bought a TRS-80 computer.
Yep.
Well, my first involvement was a TRS-80 color computer that my grandmother bought us when we was a kid. So it just gave me that passion and love again to start learning and getting more back into IT and new
cool things.
New cool things and technology. So it was a change.
Yeah. So I think there's, for each one of us, as we've gone down this journey, there's that moment that it clicks and you go, not that it's going to work, but I know it's going to get to the finish line.
Yes.
So for me, that was when we made the change to a more software-defined architecture.
Right.
Trying to get away from embedding software, decoupling software from hardware, decoupling data from software products.
Yeah.
What was that for you?
For me, it was a smaller physical footprint, because if you're having to maintain it and you have IOP card, you have to travel, you have to go and replace those physical components. That decreased significantly, and also just the call outs too. Because I don't have to be there physically, I can remote in, and if something need be, I can take care of it right then and right there.
So I've heard a rumor. This is your first ARC, potentially the first vacation you've taken in a long time?
Yes, 2 years. I just take pride in my work. I take pride in my unit, so I'm always at work. I always got my laptop. I even got Wi-Fi in the truck, so if I got to pull over, I'll pull over and fix whatever. But it was nice to come here. It's a big toy store for me. I'm a kid at heart when it comes to technology, so this is a big toy store for me. But it was nice to not have phone calls, throughout the day, and I'm not having to, fix or maintain something. So it was
the plant continues to run.
Yeah, definitely.
So obviously we're in the field, we're running. The proudest moment that you had on this journey as a system engineer?
Being able to work with new technology, new people. I made a lot of new friends. The whole journey for me has been exciting. like I say, staying with the future. And I know what's coming down the pipe. I'm just waiting for y'all to see it. But I know y'all going to introduce AI eventually. So, just being, in the forefront of what's coming down the pipe, I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm still a kid, I may not look like a kid, but I'm still a kid. Still a kid at heart.
That's awesome. Last question for you. If you had the opportunity to go back to what you had before, would you?
Ooh, that's a hard question. I like where I'm at. I'm one of those guys, I don't like change. It was a big change for me, but for me to get involved with this, I'll stick with it.
Stick with it?
I'll stick
cool.
with it. I'm going to ride, like I said, I think I told somebody earlier, I'm going to ride till the wheels fall off. So.
It's your
so,
system
yeah,
now,
definitely. So it's my baby now. So, I'm gonna ride till the wheels fall off.
Awesome. Let's give Tito a big round of applause.
Thank you.
So it takes more than just the folks you see from ExxonMobil here every year talking about OPA. And we had a lot of learnings as we went through this, not only as we built the system, but also as we fielded it, got it into the production environment, worked with the folks at the site. A couple of things that I'll call out here because it's important. The skill set is different. There's no doubt about it. It's a new technology. It's a new capability. You have to think about it differently. But the core fundamentals are still critical. You have to be good at engineering. You have to be good at instrumentation. You have to be good at the control strategy. How we do it is different, but the core capabilities are still the same. Standards will make this easier, and we see that. We have fielded a system. We're building other little prototypes using the standard, whether it be the hardware standard or the connectivity standard. These things make it easier to do. The market adoption and deployments will bring the capability to life. The software-defined concepts will accelerate how quickly you can deploy technology if it's right for you. But it also makes things like Tito's lives easier. We can bring technologies to bear that make the people that actually support these systems long-term make their lives easier. The last one I'll highlight, the technology that we put in here, it enables flexibility. We're setting that foundation, that platform that'll allow us to explore like these new technologies, these autonomous ideas, unlocking the data from the software, and really being able to harness the capabilities of the system. And we have the compute at site to be able to do this. So, I think from everybody, on the right-hand side here, this is a very small, collection of individuals that helped us get through the FAT. It's not inclusive of everybody in the program that's ever worked on it or had a discussion. But these are the folks that, from a people perspective, help make this happen. And so, when we talk about this stuff, you see individual faces, but there's a wide variety of different people that are having experiences similar to what Tito's having, where they're learning new things. They're being successful. They're enabling manufacturing to continue to move forward, and in some ways, unlocking the innovation that we want to be able to put into our facilities in the future. So yes, the plant is on an OPA-based system. It is still running, and Tito is here. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.